watching Talk Life. $20.6 billion last year in new sin taxes. Now, these are things like tobacco and firearms. Yes, firearms. They're counting that category, and ammo and things like that. It was actually 40% higher than it was in 2008, the sin taxes last year. And, you know, I don't know where honestly people get off on this, because would you rather pay a tax now or burn in hell later? And you got to ask yourself these kind of questions, because, you know, at the end of the day, as the good book says, your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit, and right now you're giving it a dreadful cough. Here's one that just came up in the news last week. The NAACP recently released a resolution calling the members, factions in the Tea Party movement, racist and bigoted, and calling on them to denounce racist and bigoted elements within the Tea Party movement. Now, Mark Williams, who's a guy with the Tea Party Express group, already released what I consider to be a vitriolic racist letter last week. He's called it satire, called it just direct bigotry, and he was let go. But quite frankly, I believe this is a political power play, because honestly, They have not come out with proof that these allegations of racism were overwhelmingly apparent in the Tea Party movement, and to do that, to actually come out and respond to NAACP and say, "You're right, you got us, caught us red-handed. We do have major racist elements in the movement," basically just puts the NAACP in a position of having the moral high ground that they don't really deserve in this case. Mm-hmm. Because to admit racism when there is none, what's the point? Nate, I mean, you've been active in it, the movement.
This is nothing more than the divide and conquer ploy. It's just, you know, something to get one race against another race. I mean, I am an animate Tea Party member. I've been in the Tea Party movie. I go to all of the Tea Party events. Let me just ask you a question. If I'm a black Tea Party member, who am I racist against? Am
Asians.
I right? Oh, yeah.
Asians. There are not enough Asians in the Tea Party movement. There are not enough skinheads in the Tea Party movement. I bet you don't like skinheads either, do you?
I hate them.
I know. I knew the hate was going to come out if we pushed it hard enough. Greg, the hate is just overwhelming here. I don't know where we get off.
I mean, Mark Williams, I read his letter. He's no relation to me, I can assure you. That was, Joel was right. That letter was completely bigoted and out of place. But as far as them trying to make the race an issue, they've been trying to do this since John Lewis walked arm in arm with Nancy Pelosi, and they said some members of the Tea Party spit on him. And the people that videotaped the event that day have offered like a $50,000 reward for anybody that has
Andrew
any
Breitbart,
footage.
$100,000 reward.
$100,000.
No one's come forward.
And nobody has come forward. And I can assure you, in this economy, if somebody had an inkling of that, then they would be all over the news.
I mean, we're putting up reward signs for lost pets right now. People are literally stealing the neighbor's pet just to bring the neighbor's pet back, just to get the $100,000. It's tough times out there.
And I'm surprised someone didn't Photoshop a spit shot. You know?
I got it right here. I got proof.
A loogie. You know?
Well, you know, it was the worst of the sorts. Chuck, what do you think? Let me bring this up. Let me bring this up because I had this conversation with my roommate recently, who's black, and we talked about where did this all come from? Because a lot of the allegations are a lot deeper, I think, against the Tea Party movement than just. And Chuck, Nate, y'all are obviously have to speak to this sound off, but a lot of the allegations run a lot deeper than just racism. I hear the comments said all the time that states' rights are the real issue going on here, that the Tea Party movement is standing up for states' rights. Oh, yeah. And in the African-American community, I hear states' rights, I hear bigotry because of the history associated with the federal government versus the states. If you go back to the history of the 1964 Civil Rights Act, it was the federal government, Congress, that imposed that. If you go back to the Emancipation Proclamation, it was the Union that proposed that. A lot of the 13th, 14th, 15th, 19th Amendments to our Constitution, the federal Constitution, were the things that gave those rights. When you reflect back on the history of civil rights in America, and you think about the states, you think about the Civil War, you think about all the different things. I think a lot of that is misplaced too, because quite frankly, if you think about the slave issue back then, especially after the cotton gin and things like that were developed, the North was where the industry, where the factories were. They were arguing for the slave trade as well, because they had to have more people now than they had before to actually provide and keep up with the factories that they had up north and provide enough cotton to run the gin. Yeah. So you had, I mean, it's a complex issue, but I want to throw that out there because do you think that has something, kind of a natural pushback with the African American state versus federal?
Oh, yeah. You know, if the states take back their sovereignty, all the black people are going to be enslaved again. Oh, yeah. We're gonna they're gonna come get us and take us from our homes and say you all need to be slaves again. Most definitely, you know, states' rights, the 9th and 10th Amendment, they only give the states back the power that are reserved to the states. That's it. That's the power to regulate their state. I really don't think that. I think that the sentiment is misplaced. I think that if they go back and they realize what states' rights means, what the state sovereignty is, they will be a little bit more educated to exactly what the states are trying to accomplish by breaking away from the federal government.
Yeah, well, and Chuck, I want to throw this at you. I mean, when I look at videos, and a lot of folks have said this in the black community, if I look at videos of Tea Party events, I don't see a lot of black folks. I see a lot of white folks. A lot of folks have said, you know, that's proof positive right there. There's racism. Because if there wasn't, there'd be a whole lot more diversity in this crowd.
I didn't get the invitation to any of the Tea Party.
You're invited.
Powwows, whatever y'all call them.
Next time.
But, I'm not, like I've told you many times, I don't know a whole lot about the Tea Party or anything like that. I've seen a couple of the videos. I have the documentary movie.
It's hard to do.
Is it racist? Do you think it's racist?
I don't believe it's racist. I mean, I don't know any racist people, obviously.
Yeah.
I don't. Even if I did, I would admit it if I knew racist people. I don't know any racist people. The only political people that I do know, believe it or not, they're fairly close to me. Like I know you, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, I just met some couple of.
Yeah. I'm so colorblind. I'm so colorblind. I was 18 before I knew I was actually white. Before that, I walked around thinking I was a black man the whole time.
You're white?
Yes, thank you. Came as news to me. You know, here's the thing, though, and when that allegation's thrown out, I have to push back against that, too, because just because there are few black folks or less diversity in a movement does not necessarily mean that means it's racist. Correlation does not necessarily mean causation. This is simple logic we've known since Philosophy 101, Greg.
Right. Well, I mean, the membership of the Tea Party, it is a diverse membership, but probably 95% of it is Caucasian. There's no Asians. I mean, I don't know why they're not up in arms because I have not seen one Asian at one of these things. But I mean, it's definitely not racist. And then we have the new Black Panther Party that they're outside, wielding bats in front of polling places. They have their elements of racism too. And I haven't been invited to a Black Panther event lately. So
how do we bring more Asians into the Tea Party? Do we have Pilates classes before we start?
Well, not to sound racist or anything, but
not at all. No, with broad blushes here. I mean, I do have to think about it. Transition here. I mean, here's the thing that gets to me. Division here is what's killing us, and the core principles that made our nation what it is are very difficult to rally around when in a relativistic, pluralistic society. And progressives knew this from very, very early on. They knew that if you took that out of the argument, you could not unify around core principles because there were no core principles anyone believed in. There was nothing core at your core anymore. And no one person, got news for you, gang, no one person can bring about unity. I don't care if you're Rush Limbaugh, I don't care if you're Glenn Beck, I don't care if you're Barack Obama. Mm-hmm. Me, anyone. No one person can bring about unity, but there are some principles that can pull us back to it. There is a system we haven't used in a long time that can pull us back to it. This year on September 17th, we have a really exciting thing starting up. We're going to see a map. We're going to see a map that shows us the unity we have not been able to grasp a hold of for a long time. And this September 17th, we're going to start the first step in the long walk home. Hope you'll be there. We'll see you tomorrow on The Hub.